All right, we are just about ready to get our Crystalis randomizer run going. So thank you all for tuning in to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Marathon. We are benefiting the Liam Foundation, whose mission is to encourage, heal, assist, and empower the LGBTQIA plus community through respect, advocacy, and passionate hearts to promote a thriving society. We'll get started here in our moment with our Crystalis runners. Thank you all for tuning in.
All right, welcome FFR Rando Marathon to the Crystalis Randomizer 4-man race. It's going to be awesome. 3 of the people in this race have actually been to the finals, if not won the finals of the Crystalis Randomizer tournaments in the past. Cogorilla has also been instrumental in developing several add-ons and awesome improvements for the randomizer. For those of us that aren't familiar with the randomizer, there's lots of different flag sets for this. I guess if they're ready, I'll go ahead and drop out of the race room. But it has a really extensive list of flags you can do to make it as easy or difficult as you like. The particular flag set that they are doing today is a very difficult one. It randomizes all the maps in the game, all the entrances, all the buildings themselves. So as you can see here, they're spawning in one of the probably about halfway through the game palaces, talking to this queen. Getting a sword right away. I'm sure they're happy about that, even though it's the famous Sword of Water that has been so talked about so far. Let's see. So all these entrances they're going into right now, they're checking them because these are all mixed up from where they would be in the vanilla game. And that has changed a lot. Gives a lot of possibilities. So they're coming out of what is one of the last dungeons in the game, actually, to get the final sword, typically in the vanilla run, which is the Sword of Thunder. There's also a kind of a quality of life improvement that they have a button combination on their controller to be able to go back to the starting room. It just makes things somewhat simplified and, saves a lot of time from having to constantly buy boots or run back out of dungeons when you don't have a way to get back out. So one of the flags that we have on currently is the Oops All Mimics flag. So if you're seeing on Cogorilla's screen here, he's trying to kill these mimics. So every chest that drops in the game will first turn into a mimic, and you will have to kill the mimic before you can actually get what the item is inside of it. We see that Cogorilla got the Sword of Wind. Oh, I thought you guys were muted. My bad. I won't mention what they're finding then. Well, to be fair, where he found that, they're going to find that pretty soon anyway, so it's not like it's a huge spoiler. But, I apologize, I didn't realize they could hear me. I thought they all had headphones on. So, okay, it's going to be make the commentating quite interesting because I can't give any specifics on things. Okay. Talk more about the randomizer quality of life improvements. They are able to switch swords, which only one person you can do that with currently with the swords they have without having to go back to the menu. There's a button combination that was added to the randomizer. One of the other flags that was a donation incentive was the charge only, so they cannot stab, which typically makes the fighting somewhat easier, especially for the season runners. They're having to actually make charge shots every time they want to fight something, which is something they're not used to and probably not really happy about, honestly, but challenge to monitor 4 runners at once in a game that is as quick as this, and the checks are as quick as they are. Obviously, the monsters in the game are randomized as well as the weaknesses that they are weak to versus the vanilla game. Okay. So they all have Sword of Thunder, it looks like. That teleports you to a random town versus the vanilla game where it always takes you to Chiron, so they all have been teleported to a random town at this point. So they will definitely check every single room and every single building they go into because they want to make sure there's not something there that's not normally there in vanilla. It's definitely quite the twist on the game that normally wouldn't be in it. Like I said earlier, these are very advanced flags. If you're just wanting to try the randomizer, I would not recommend starting on these flags because you'll get lost very quickly. Because it's just very challenging compared to what the game normally is, especially even just the standard randomizer flags. The bonus of having so many swords early on, you would think that'd be really good for the runners, but it actually makes their routing somewhat challenging because there's so many areas they can go to and check versus if they just have one sword and limits and kind of funnels them certain ways, but this makes things very open. It's very interesting. I missed what the yay was about, but I'm assuming it was something good. Of Unfortunately, the mummies are just mummies. They're not Tornell Huggers of Seed. That's something else that's been randomized is the monster names at the bottom left of the screen. Actually, every monster has its name displayed, and there's a huge list of custom names that have been added to the randomizer. As well as there's a health bar for each monster that shows how much health they have left, which can be very useful when fighting bosses. I'm the one that vetted this seed and made sure that it was, everything the runners wanted and more, but I honestly don't remember much about the middle of the seed, so kind of lost about how far each person is at this point. So I'm right there with the rest of you.
Hey, Tornell, let's ask some questions about this game because we're kind of curious about this. I mean, we have Final Fantasy people here in the crowd, and we are wondering, tell us a little bit about what we're looking for in Crystalis right now.
That person was talking to me. I cannot hear you. I hear you like through, it's echoey or something.
We are working on that. Can you hear me now?
That's a little better, yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what we're looking for to do here in Crystalis.
Yes, so they have a flag enabled called story mode, and what that means is they have to have every sword, and they have to beat all of the main tetrarchs where they can go do the end of the game. So that means all the 4 generals have to beat 3 of them twice, and the 4th one just the once, as well as beat Dragon 1 and his second form or second battle before they can go finish the game and beat Dinah, the final boss of the game in the tower.
And that involves going through a lot of
something else that will probably be required will be 3 bows, and sometimes you have to have the bow of Mu and Sun, but with these flags, sometimes you can bypass that requirement. They definitely have to have the bow of Truth regardless. And most of the time, you have to have flight. It's very rare and possible with these flags you don't have to have flight, but it's almost guaranteed majority of the time that you have to have the flight spell.
And from what I understand, the bid war that we have going on right now, the water sword, that's the bad one, the one that they don't want, or is that the one that we do want? Because I keep hearing conflicting information about that.
So I think you're asking about the water sword. It's still kind of breaking up on my end, but the water sword basically is just the way the level 3 charge of the water sword works. It swirls around and pulls the enemies to the center, but in the tower it's kind of like a wide, skinny level of each level of the tower you're on, so it kind of pulls the monsters to you, and you can actually end up killing yourself trying to defeat the monsters in the tower. That's why they don't like to use that in the tower. It's also the slowest, typically.
So that would be bad then? We don't want that, or we do want that? Because that sounds like we
They
want
typically
that.
don't want that, no. I mean, they prefer to have fire's probably their favorite, but, thunder is also really good, and wind even works better than water because you can kind of push the monsters around.
Well, that brings up an interesting question, since we have just received a $60 donation from Just Wifey for whichever Crystalis sword makes it most interesting. As a note, they will add $20 more to the Thunder sword if Just Quinn can sing her Thunder song on the mic. And $1 donations from Meshima. I keep hearing the word water, and I don't like it. Thank you for your dollar.
The other thing I'll mention on the tower swords is that they don't know which upgrades they're going to have by the end. So each sword has 3 charges, and they don't know if they're going to have level 3 charge for the sword that they're even voting for or pushing for right now. So it could actually end up hurting them if they don't have, you know, the combat upgrades. That could slow them down and make the tower harder as well. Someone in chat just asked if Moshima donated while speedrunning. That's not the first time that's happened, actually, so it wouldn't surprise me. Someone also asked about rabbit boots. So yes, so rabbit boots in the vanilla game just enable your character to be able to hop around, but in the randomizer we added the, shouldn't say we, they added a extra function to that lets you charge while moving, but the charge only mode lets you do that as well already, so a buff to that rabbit boots on top of that is it lets you charge even faster while moving now. So actually ends up being really good, even better than potentially the warrior ring, because in charge only mode the warrior ring, which lets you shoot spam level 1 shots, has actually been nerfed somewhat to be slower. So something else that these runners, you know, dislike doing a lot of time is having to fight bosses with level 1 swords, and I'm sure I wouldn't pick a seed that they'd have to do that a lot, would I? I would never do.
All right, folks, we have a special treat here. We have Just Quinn going to grace us with the Thunder Sword song.
Thunder, thunder, lightning and the thunder, 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 lightning and the thunder, thunder.
Let's give it up for Just Quinn. Thank you so much for that wonderful song. And just as an update, we have the bid war going on for water versus not water. Water is sitting at $540. Wind is sitting at $681. Fire is sitting at $100. And thunder is currently sitting at $10.
Some of the areas in the game are much more maze-like than others, and random maps, that becomes really fun to figure out how you're supposed to get through it. Especially if you go through it more than once and you forget how you went through the first time. There's some really hard flags that make all this completely dark. We do this without being able to see anything. That's even more fun. Shout out to K-Foul, another runner from the community. A character named after him, an enemy named after him, K-Foul's dudes, the flail guys.
And do we have a moment for a couple of quick donations?
Yes.
All
Anytime
right.
you need donations, just go for it.
Alrighty. So we've got a $10 donation from Clanaz02. No comment. Thank you for donating to the worthy cause. And $20 from Just Wifey, as promised, for the Thunder Sword. Thanks for letting Quinn sing. Anytime. We're happy to make people smile.
So another flag that is on is one called Battle Magic Not Guaranteed. It basically means they might have to fight bosses without having level 2 or 3 charges for their swords. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but definitely can add some challenge to the game and ruin some lives depending on what you have consumable-wise as far as healing and everything else when you get to a boss.
And we just got another donation for $50 from the Schwanz27. Put this dono towards the Sprite and Palette Rando incentive for the Worlds Collide Dungeon Crawl 1. It's been my new favorite way to play the randomizer. Good luck to runners, and thanks to the staff for putting on an amazing showcase. Well, we're happy to help out. I'm sure I speak for everyone here. Always happy to help out.
So you'll occasionally see our runners on stream taking notes, basically writing down what connects to what, and what potential trade-in spots are in what locations. That way, when they have to come back later, they don't forget. It can get really confusing really quickly, and really easy to forget what you've been to and where things are. And really famous moment called the Tornado World Tour in one of the previous tournaments where we were doing similar flags, and I forgot where one of the trade-in checks were, and I basically ended up teleporting to every single town in the game at least once before I figured out where I needed to go. Somehow I still won that race, but that was fun. It was actually against our current runner, Mashama, so... So I mentioned it earlier, one of these spells in the game is the flight spell, which allows you to fly around and over areas that normally you couldn't do. So a lot of the runners have been to areas with these floating platforms, and that can be really challenging when there are flying enemies that can come and knock you off, or if you have to stop in between on those little islands, they can get knocked off those and have to redo the whole thing, go across all the platforms again. It can be very challenging. I really enjoy watching these runners try to figure out where they're supposed to go. Another flag that's on is called the sword charge glitch. It allows them to, if they're in an area where they can save, they can actually transfer the level of charge from one sword to another. It has some limitations to it. They can't open the menu once they do it, or else it resets it, but it can be useful for fighting bosses or doing certain things throughout the game. You might see that at some point. First thing I don't know if I mentioned earlier or not is that the other flag that is on it is the RO flag, which allows them to break walls or make these ice bridges, which is a level 1 sword. For the vanilla game, you have to have at least a level 2 to do that. Really opens up the routability of the seeds. That's why we turn it on a lot of times. If you don't, the seed just basically dumps all the level 2 orb items to you near the start of the seed, kind of makes it somewhat stale. $141 ahead for water still.
And we have a $5 donation from Val with no comment. Thank you so much for helping the cause.
Yeah, we basically have till someone enters the final area of the game to be able to donations for swords. If people are still interested in doing that, get those donations in. Don't let water win.
And how will we know when they're in the final area so people on stream will know how long they have to get their donations in? We know it's going to be a bit, but we kind of need to know when that cutoff is.
I can kind of give you a heads up when I tell they're getting close. But I can tell you at this point we're still a ways away. Looks like we might have another live donation going on as we speak. Yes, I see you, Mashama. Looks like Chris has finally discovered the new path to go. Seems excited about that.
And we had a couple more donations come in. We have $1 from Mashima. Sniper 1, no sniping. Remember the magic cards. Thank you for your donation. And $20 from Luffy. Not sure of the total number I had, but I know Odron said I had at least... I had 3 at one point, and there was at least 1 more after that. I promised for my 4 deaths in Ori. Put this towards the file name bid war for Zelda later.
Yeah, Arch, I mean, you can honestly, if you're on the FFR Discord, you can hop in here. I don't think there's an issue with that when they do calming with it. Oh.
And for those of you watching the Sword Bid War, Thunder is only about $680 behind Water. So if you wanted to really get that Thunder Sword in there for the final dungeon, come on in, drop $600, bring it up to the front. You could do it. I believe in you. Oh boy, we just got $100 donation from Nobody War. More paint! Shout out to everyone from the Worlds Collide community for joining this, and a big thank you to the Final Fantasy Randomizer community for all the hard work prepping and running the event. Paint incentive for the FF6 Worlds Collide Chaos Crawler. Thank you so much for your donation. We really appreciate it. And with that, that brings us over, I believe, our second highest total ever at any of our events. So big hands to everybody donating. And we just had a $10 donation from Lord Fizzlebead. Hello, I have recently had a change of heart after intense personal reflection. Put this to Windsword. It's really good. And immediately $100 for Code Gorilla for last minute water snipe.
Another flag that is on in this flag set is the, they're not guaranteed to have barrier or any other way to get through those shooting statues, so we saw one of our runners had to kind of readjust their plan to be able to go through those because they didn't have enough health to make it through, damage boost through it.
And a $10 donation from Penguin donating to water. Hey CG, use the slide! Because we all know penguins and their slides. And just let me bring that update here. So with that last donation, water is sitting at 650, wind is sitting at 692, fire sitting at 100, and thunder still at 10. So if you want to jump in and snipe that water, put that in the lead, it won't take that much. You're not that far behind. It's only $40. Come on, you can do it, guys. And $100 from Odron. Let's go ahead and finish off the required Warbank incentive. And you know, fighting Warmech always makes me thirsty, so the rest goes to the water sword.
Yes. Something that can kind of give you a gauge as far as how far along in the game they are. Below where it says LV, there's a thing that says DL, which is difficulty level, basically. And so as they get key items throughout the game, it will increase their difficulty level scaling. And they're currently, you know, in the teens. All the runners are, and it can go up to as large as, you know, upper 40s. So we have still quite a ways to go in this race, really, before they are even close to the tower. So definitely get those donations in for Sword. Because, yeah, we need to see some water in the wind, because wind's too easy.
All right, as an update on the final sword donation war, we have Water in the lead with $735. Wind pulling in a close second at $692. Fire and Thunder are also still there.
Well, I want to hear. J-Roboy in chat says, for Thunder Sword, despite being the strongest, it's always the Thunder Dog Bid Wars. I like the pun, I appreciate it. Also, shout out to J-Ro, he's also helped develop a lot of the quality of life improvements for this randomizer, so definitely shout outs to him.
Yeah, it is very true that the Thunder Sword is the Thunder Dog of this race, but for only $726, you could make it take the lead. Come on, guys.
What a steal. Normally I'd be talking a lot more about things, but since they can hear me, it definitely limits what I can talk about. Just to reiterate for anybody that might have joined the chat later, joined the stream later. I don't want to spoil anything for our runners, so I'm trying not to disclose any information that might give somebody an advantage. See everything, yes. That's something I can talk about. So, in the randomizer community, there's a good tradition we have to where when somebody forgets a check or misses a check throughout a race, they get a spot named after them. And I don't know if Chris has one named after him, but I think almost everybody else that I know of in this race has a spot named after them or some kind of funny incident that's happened. So, definitely don't forget to check Goes and Ledge or the Axe spot or any other really obvious spots that you might miss throughout the run. So somebody in the chat is asking why we call Mashima Mashima. So Mashima's original name was spelled Mashima, but it's currently M2 SH2 M2 because whatever position Mashima finishes in a tournament, he changes his name to be that position. So if he finishes 4th, he changes it to 4th, for instance. So it's just kind of a tradition he's done for a while now. If... Although I will say, if anybody should have 2s in their name, it should be the Axeman, but just gonna throw that out there. Shots fired. I think Axeman has finished second like 3 times now in tournaments, maybe? Something like that.
All right, and we've had a $100 donation from Mashima. Put this to host choice. I trust him to know what's best for everyone. Well, I appreciate that, and that's going to Thundersword.
I think I mentioned it earlier. I think Just Chris is our most recent tournament winner. He came out of nowhere and he just wiped the floor with the rest of us. Kind of was not fair. So I'm hoping this race makes him have question his choices for being in this race, maybe. But So just to kind of give an update on what our runners are still trying to achieve at this point, they're all trying to, since I think they all have all the swords now, I think, it's kind of hard to track all of this, but they're really trying to defeat all the main bosses that they have to beat to finish the game in hopes that they find the remaining bows and or spells that they need to finish the game. So we've seen several of the runners in this castle-looking area that's called Goa, and in the vanilla game it's kind of a long slog, like marathon of bosses and maze areas, and it's even worse with these flags. So they have to beat all the bosses in this castle, as well as 3 of the bosses have other areas outside of the castle you have to fight them at. We've kind of seen a few of those areas, like I think everybody's fought Kelbask 1 in the snow at this point, so they're also the same bosses in this castle, and I think they've all fought him at this point as well, so. They're basically hoping that they can get, some combat upgrades along the way that will help them in the final area of the game, the floating tower. And one of the items that they will hope to find is the power ring, which greatly increases their attack capability and makes the final couple bosses, as well as the tower itself, much easier because you do a lot more damage, obviously. Another spell that was useful but not required is the barrier spell, and I slightly mentioned it earlier, but basically, as it sounds, that creates a barrier around your character and blocks projectiles. Most of the time, there is a dead frame that sometimes it lets things through anyway, or if the enemies are too close to you, it can come through as well. But for the most part, it's very useful, and they would like to have that for sure. Uh-oh, here we go again. Mashima's does not want to have water in the tower. How much will it be this time? How much can we raise for charity?
So, in case he wants to know, Water is trailing. Water is currently winning by $43.
This is ridiculous.
It may be ridiculous, but it's for a great cause, and it gets us that much closer to going over our forever total. It'll be our highest total ever if he just donates enough to make Thundersword win. And we just had a $45 donation from Darkmoon. Fizzle looks sad. $45 for water.
Odron in chat, sorry I missed your question earlier about the DL. Yes, that's a very good way to see who is in the lead for the most part. I mean, sometimes you can end up with more DL than you really need, but it's generally a good way to see who's ahead. Wait.
So we have an update on donations. The swords keep going flying fast and furious, and currently Wind is in the lead by like $3. The update should be coming soon. And we had another donation from Ashma. Not sure that I made the right call. This is in case I need to snipe. Oh wait, don't say that part. Well, I don't think I need to snipe, so I think we're gonna have Race the Snails on the Soul Blazer Randomizer tournament.
So you're asking about the second controller teleporting? Yes, we call that wild warping. And yes, it's still a thing in the randomizer. You can enable it to be just like it is in vanilla, or you can have it like in this flag set, where it just basically takes you back to the starting shrine and that's it. It doesn't teleport you around the map. And instead of having to have a second controller now, it's a button combination on the first controller. So it makes things easier. If anybody has any questions about anything, please post them in chat, because I definitely need things to talk about. So I kind of hit on it earlier about the crypt dive. So near the end of the game, there's an area called the crypt that to get into, you have to have two separate bows, the bow of moon and the bow of sun. And because of this flag set, sometimes you can end up getting into the crypt past the two lion statues that you have to shoot with those bows to get past. So sometimes those are required, sometimes they aren't. The reason you want to get to the crypt, there are two main reasons. There are two item checks in there, as well as that's typically in a vanilla game how you get to the final boss and final area of the game. But once again, because of these flags, you can end up going there and not actually being able to get to the end, or not being able to get through the statues like you need to, or not have to get to the statues like you need to normally. And as far as the story for this game, somewhat convoluted, but basically, you know, it's post-apocalyptic. The main character was cryogenically frozen, gets awakened to help, you know, save the world, basically. And there's another character you're kind of following throughout the game, trying to catch up with, as well, that was frozen, got awakened. The main antagonist in the game is a main general bad guy called Dragon, who's the head of the Dragonia Empire. And he's trying to gain control of the tower, which, according to the opening scene, was created to, you know, avoid the mistakes of the past, keep people from, you know, using their power for evil, but then they create this giant tower that can destroy the world. It's kind of confusing. But you end up, you know, the goal of the game is to shut down the tower and destroy it so that nobody can use the, you know, tower for evil. I'm going to talk about status effects really quick, because we just saw Chris use a clever strategy to get rid of the status, so there are a few main statuses in this game, being poison, which slowly damages you, being paralyzed, which keeps you from charging your sword, which in this flag set means you can't shoot or do any damage because you have to charge. And another one called Nooper, or Slime, which you just saw him use, and the thing about statuses in this game is you can only have one at a time. So, for instance, if you were paralyzed like he just was, and if you turn into a slime, it gets rid of the paralysis, and then one of the main ways you can get rid of the slime status is to change floors, walk through an entrance. So that's what he did to get rid of the paralysis status effect. That's actually quite clever and quite somewhat advanced, although any of these runners would do that if they needed to. But
I will hop in now with a very quick donation right here from Ale for $50, saying that I needed to read this particular one. When did we give up on the puns? I'm wondering which sword will win. I hope it blows the other ones away. At the end of the day, it's a win-win situation. That was for $50. That was painful.
And as a note, that will push us over our highest total donations at any of our events. We have done it, everyone. Keep those donations coming in. Let's see if we can't make an upset. Make them have the water sword instead anyway, because we feel like seeing a longer run. All right, now that the excitement from that record-breaking donation is settled, just so everyone at home knows what we're doing, we're donating and gathering for the Liam Foundation that's been going on since 2018 to gather resources and provide support for LGBTQIA communities through respect, advocacy, and passionate hearts so that everyone can thrive together.
Someone in chat was asking the best way to get into the randomizer. Definitely, I recommend just playing the vanilla game first, so you can kind of learn the flow of the game and kind of what everything is, you know, tied together. And then, like I said, there are several flags you can adjust within the randomizer. Just go to crystalisrandomizer.com. You can also have a link to the Discord on there. But You can start off with just the casual flag set, kind of learn how things get randomized, and just add more pieces on as you get more experience, more comfortable. And then plus, you can post any questions in the Help Me section of the Discord, and any of us will chime in, and help you if you've lost where to go, what to do, how to use the site, anything like that. We're all happy to help. So definitely, love to have more people in the community. So if you're interested at all, I recommend giving it a shot. And it looks like somebody just posted a link to the Discord in chat. So. As far as which is the best wise man, obviously that's Tornell, Probably goes like Tornell, Zebu, Asina, and Kensu. And then Akahana. And then Stomp, maybe. So, before Stom decided to take take a long, extended nap in Chiron, he was on a path to be, maybe the 5th wise man, but got cut a little short, so I don't know where he ranks exactly. I mean, Dio is Stom's rabbit, for somebody talking about that in chat. He probably ranks above Stom since, he's still around at the end of the game. That's right. All the wise men know water is the best sword, so they'd probably all pick water if they had to choose one. Yeah, that's right, J-Ro. Can't be a wise man if you're gonna sleep through an invasion like that. Come on.
Well, while everybody is enjoying the show, I think there's about 60 or so people watching. If each of you donated $10, we could bring the Thunder Sword up into first place.
Yes, so the certain walls still take the same sword that you see. So the ice wall still takes fire, stone wall takes wind, etc. Speaking of Stom, falling for a half second there on somebody's stream. Yeah, for people that weren't here at the very start, the Oops All Mimics flag basically enables it to where every chest you find in the game, whether it's just naturally there or it's dropped after you defeat the boss, it turns into a mimic every single time, and you have to defeat the mimic before it drops the real chest that has the item in it. Although if it's a chest in the wild, it can actually be a real mimic, so you just get money after you defeat it. But yes, that's correct. You only have level 1 required to break walls and make the ice bridges with these flags. The RO flag. but you still have to have the correct sword. And as J-Ro said, because mimics can walk through walls or walk across water and get to areas that the character itself cannot get to, if you defeat them outside of where you can get to it, you might have to leave and re-defeat the mimic, or if it's a boss, refight the boss, because the bosses in this game do not consider themselves defeated until you pick up their chest. Shout out to Speed Gaming with the rate of 80.
And we just had a $25 donation from the idiot TM. What are we waiting for? Let's get a wave of donations and wash away the competition. Which I believe will, in fact, put water back into the lead. And to the raid that just came in from Speed Gaming, welcome, welcome. We're gathering here to donate to the Liam Foundation that helps LGBTQIA get the support they need with housing, clothing, that kind of thing. And they're having a little trouble getting their funding, so we're helping out so that they can keep the doors open to help those in need.
We're at like an hour 15. Let's see. $115, so maybe like $130, $140. We cut off donations or something.
Yep, sounds good. So, anyone who's wanting to get in and maybe snipe that last minute to push wind ahead, we've got about 15, maybe 20 minutes. So, like $10 a piece, we can get Fire Sword maybe, since nobody wants Thunder. And it turns out that I didn't look at the update screen, so as an update for that, Wind is, in fact, still ahead. Not by much. So a few bucks here and there, you could snipe that in, but it's a close thing. All right, current running totals as we're getting close to the wire. Water Sword, $760. Wind Sword, $787. Fire Sword, $100. Thunder Sword, $110. So if everybody viewing, including those speed gaming guys that just showed up to help, everybody throws 10 bucks in, that'll put Thunder in the lead. You can do it. I believe in you.
I heard Mashima likes mimics. It also increases your defense and your attack power when you level up, also. Yeah, so all the hard level caps from the vanilla game have been removed from Randomizer, so you always do at least 1 damage to all the bosses in the game. would not always recommend fighting the boss if you're only doing 1 damage, but you can if you want. So there is another flag in Randomizer called Tank Mode you can enable. It makes it where even with the wrong sword, you'll do 1 damage to a boss. And some of us have been crazy enough to actually use that before, and it's fun. In fact, in the early days of the Randomizer, sometimes you had to do that just because the Randomizer itself was somewhat limited on what it would randomize. But that's gotten a lot better, and you don't have to do that nowadays. Oh. Zero from the community is happy somewhere.
And as we get closer to the final stretch, the sword bid war continues to be close, with water only $27 behind wind, and fire and thunder are also there. Just as a note, coming up after this is the Link Between Worlds randomizer run, and the incentives are still open for that. The file name bid war currently sits at $20 for MIFA and nothing else. Fight Yunganong Swordless is still up there with $25 out of $80, and night mode is still yet to be met with 0 out of $80.
So yes, hopping through the spike floors is faster because not only do you not have to switch items, even if you switch items to where you can't take damage from the spikes, you walk much slower through the spikes that way. So hopping actually enables you to go quicker through the entire area. So I have not done a good job of keeping track of which bosses they've finished. So we'll see how that goes soon. Guess we're what, about 9 minutes or so away from the cutoff for the sword donations.
I will defer to the expert on that, but if that's what you say, come on, guys. We've only got 9 or so minutes left to get that water sword.
It's still, what, 787 for wind and 760 for water, is that right?
760 for water, 787 for wind. That is correct.
as you just saw on one of our streams, the level 3 Thunder Charge is a lot of flashing lights, so if you're sensitive to that, going forward there could be more of that.
And we have a $30 donation from Tornell. Sorry, Mashva, I had to take one more stab at getting the water sword in the tower. Good luck at the end of the run to all of our runners. Which puts water firmly in the lead at $790 versus wins $787.
Laughing at my own jokes.
And a $50 donation from TMV64. Great job, everyone. A $10 donation from Mashima. Good luck to all 3 of our runners today. I don't know what happened, but that makes me think something unfortunate has occurred. So I'm starting to think that it doesn't matter if it's water or wind. There's something unfortunate ahead for our runners.
So the runners having to go through this Kelbesk 2 area more than once is like the best thing that could happen in this seed, because this area randomized is a nightmare. Hey, blame Mashama, he wanted this.
And a $10 donation from Lord Fizzlebeef, Wind, etc. Which will put Wind back in the lead at 797 versus Water's 790. Fire and Thunder are also there. Come on, everybody. $10 each. Give one of them some love. I don't care which. A $13 anonymous donation just came in. I will give you $13 worth of wind sword to a good cause. Thank you so much, Anonymous.
Yeah, you have to rewatch, or you can always donate again.
Yes, please, donate again. We appreciate it. Especially any donations towards Fire or Thunder Sword, because come on, guys.
So I originally was saying like a 140 cutoff for the donations, which is like 40 seconds from now, so...
We're awaiting the final totaling in this to push through the system, but at this point, I'm 99% sure it's going to be Wind Sword in that final tower. And we've just finished the calculations. Wind is $20 ahead of water. So last second donation is closing any moment now. I'm waiting for the comm to let us know. And Just Plain House gives a $25 donation. I know nothing of these swords, but Fire and Thunder, like all of us, deserve some love too. So at the last second, $20 for each. Thank you very much, Just Plain House. $5 from Anonymous. It's feeling a little windy in here. Sounds like we're having a little more back and forth on this bid war.
Wow, that's some RNG there. Oh, what happened? I missed it. Oh no, you having to do it again? Oh no. Oh. So yeah, what is the final on the sword?
Final on the sword is Wind Wins.
Oh man, we tried, guys. We tried, everybody. Phoenix in chat says that the race got watered down anyway.
I prefer to think of it as all fired up.
I don't know. I'm getting blown away by Mashama's gameplay. Some more puns in chat. It was quite the thunderous Dono war. I'm thunderstruck by how well he's playing. It's a real spark of change and acceptance. Can't drop that, Mashima. There, now it's gone. Just like that, Mashima finishes in first place. With a time of 1:47.58.
Wow. Gotta hurry, it's coming up real fast. It's coming. It's gonna be real loud, I'm warning you guys. Cover your ears. Jeff Peters! Sure. On the mic or headset? On the mic? Or, yeah. Sure, I guess. Hi, Tornado. Can you hear me? Can Tornell hear me? Yeah? Okay. I'm not hearing him. Oh, I know why. Maybe I should, Whoop. There we go. Let's see what's going on TV. People are in places. They're shooting thunder shots. They're falling. I have no idea who's in what place.
Hey, pro tip code, just make sure it's not in your inventory already.
I don't know why you'd even say that. No one has that
Totally never
problem.
done that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No one has ever done that before. Never.
In a randomizer? No.
No. Did you guys check all your flutes yet? Where's that? That's Chris? Okay. You guys in your notes. So cute watching you check things off. How could you miss it? You got notes.
Moshman's having way too much fun with this mic.
I mean, you would know, Tornell. Rarely do I get the W. I will forever be salty when you did World Tour Tornell and still beat me. It was the funniest VOD.
I still can't believe I did, but yeah. I was sweating bullets that whole time.
I could tell when you're going back to the same town for like the third time. Looking for one check.
The panic was real.
Mind if I jump in with another donation?
Go ahead.
We got an anonymous $25 donation. Happy marathon, everyone. Would like to put my dono towards the file name for Link Between Worlds to be bonk.
Nice. So I think I'd like to thank my victory on host, who clearly put all the money I gave him to the right choices. That has to be what happened.
Absolutely. Wind won as you wished. That's what you wanted. That's what you got.
He did it.
Oh my god. Yes! It's beautiful. Oh. Woo! All right, we're good. So the next one, is the sea going to be vetted so there'll be no upgrades for wind or water? Oh, it's Stom. Code, why are you going to leave your friend Stom like that? He's just napping. Probably for the best. What you might not have known is Stom tried to soft lock my game. There was much panic. He sent me to my own special room in Nadir's. He's coming back. Huh. Press this button. Uh. Alright, let's listen to another good theme.
That was my favorite thing about this seat.
There we go. It's happening. GG's.
GG's. Chris finishes in second place. Time of... He hasn't hit the button in race time.
Did you hit the button in race time? You can still beat Chris. He's not hitting the button in race time. Oh, you did? Aww. He forfeited.
There you go. Officially 2 minutes, 1 second, 50 milliseconds. Or 2 hours, 2 minutes. You're welcome. Blame Mashima.
Are there vanilla? And I'm like, I don't know vanilla. I only know this craziness. GG's, Mashima. Congratulations, you get to keep your button.
I don't get to keep my magic cards, though.
No. Oh, but I came in second place, and these two on the outside are still playing. Wave to the camera. There it is. Well, ask Mashima what the first place prize was.
What was first place prize?
Oh no, my wife has disappeared. Oh, there she is. Hi, honey. Was that boring? She's like 2 hours of my life I'll never get back.
You lost? I waited 2 hours and you lost?
Yeah, that happens. I was. How much money we raise? Oh my goodness, that was not that high when we started. Oh, they fixed it for 2 cameras. There we go. Yay.
On.
You got a code, I
Do you
believe.
see the chat there? You can talk to chat on the side. Could you visit Slime Kensu twice? Me too. Oh, yeah. Hello. What would you like to say, Quinn?
Hello.
Okay.
Hey, Chad, can we just get a big thank you to Quinn for singing us the Thunder Sword song earlier? How cute that was.
Woo, good singing. I heard you, Quinn, even through my headphones. You want to sing again? Because there's some more thunder happening over there.
No.
Not so loud on the mic. Thunder. The thunder. Lightning and the...
Thunder, thunder.
Mm. Yeah, me too. Why are you just in the tower? You finished? That's what I used. Wind. No one yelled at me to change otherwise. Well, actually, you need a wind song, because look, they're both using wind, so see?
Wind,
There we
wind.
go.
Wind, wind.
Different theme.
Wind.
That's the wind song. So I'll get some thank yous out while we're waiting. Thank you to FFR for hosting us, letting us do our shenanigans. Get some more donations in to the Liam Foundation. I'm the newbie to this group, and so thank you to the Crystalis Randomizer people for letting me... Where?
Man, it is a fight for third.
Oh, there you go. Chat thinks you won, and that's all that matters. Thank you to Quinn for being my biggest supporter. Second only to my wife, Laura, who put along with this weekend trip.
Fine.
Oh, where's the sign? Oh, here, where's the there's the camera. Let's see. Oh, we can almost see it. It's a big white sign. I'll put it behind the computer. That's okay. Oh, I think Taskbot. Be gentle, Quinn. As in, don't pick it up, Quinn. Let your mother.
It's the multivac.
I don't want to be kicked out of the group because I broke. Go Axeman. What does it say? It says, "Dear Axeman, love Taskbot."
GG.
GG's. Champ finishes with a time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, 21 seconds.
Yeah, so this stupid hat from Zebu didn't see that it was blank. Did everything else before going, nuts. We only have 2 mics, so if he wants to say anything.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for cheering me on, Taskbot.
GG's Axeman.
Thank you.
Bye,
Taskbot
Taskbot.
is here thanks to some help from his keeper, Dwango AC. So everyone, give some shout outs to him. Yeah, and see. Oh, thank you. I saw that. That's awesome.
And then you pop out and you've been there.
Yeah. Well, I also went through Kelbeth's floor, hoping to go through Goa, planning to go through Goa, and then I accidentally hit the warp combo, and warped out.
Same thing.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I need to reset to get back to the beginning of the room, warp out.
Yes.
No!
So I went through 4
Diagram
times.
of logic.
Yeah, that was 4 times through Goa. Oh no. Yeah. Oh no. But any seed you can finish is a
Mashima
good
does not
seed.
get the mic.
Thanks
Oh, and
again
also,
for having us.
mahalo to Tornell for comms and vetting this wonderful seed. Wonderful.
Yes.
Quinn, come see what I mean by wonderful.
No problem. You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. Also, GG code.
Tornell, you monster. So what happened to me, for anyone that missed that during the race, what happened to me is that I went through Goa. I went through all of Goa. I got to Carmine, and I didn't have enough healing to get through the shooters. And I had to leave.
Oh no!
And the entire rest of that seed, I'm just like hoping, okay, maybe I can get flight. Maybe I can come in the other way. Nope, never happened. Went down there again, finally beat Carmine, forgot to turn in the ivory statue. Went in a third time to turn in the ivory statue. That was a consumable. And then I remembered Dio. Dio had the other moon, or the other bow, and
yeah.
from there I beat the game.
Well, congratulations to all the runners on this fantastic experience that we have just had. Thank all of you for coming out and putting on a great show for everyone at home. And thank you everyone at home for your generous donations to that wonderful sword war. It's really helped us bring in the revenue we need to help the Liam Foundation continue their good work with the LGBTQIA+ community. That's a mouthful to get it.
This is